Welcome to a new episode of Dark Days Radio Dark Iron with our tale of Warcasters. I'm your regular host, Chris, and this is a second episode, which is kind of a second part of the first one, because we were missing one person who is with us today, which is Kenda. So hello.
Hello.
So people know what I do, lots of wargaming. So Kenda, as a brief overview, you're new to Warmachine and the world, which is great, because I love teaching new people the setting and how it's this diverse, inclusive, and fun setting, both in terms of its gameplay and the actual material itself, and the RPG, which I love as well. But just as a quick introduction, kind of like, what do you do, like wargaming wise and content wise? Because you've got a podcast as well.
Yes. So wargaming wise, it's 40k. It's 40k in AOS, so it's all Warhammer based. That's kind of how I got into wargaming. And now we are diversifying. But yeah, so I play 40k. I play 40k pretty competitively, so I play teams tournaments.
Cool.
Then I paint. So that's my passion. Is the painting side. I guess it's a bit of a boast to say, but I'm an award-winning painter.
Yay!
But
that's
from
great.
It is what it is. So yeah, painting's my first love, and always will be. And then from a content side, I run a podcast called Two Girls, One Paint Pot with my bestie Jade. And that's just us chatting shit about Warhammer. But not just Warhammer, about wargaming and stuff in general. Jade's much more Gundam based, so we talk about a lot of mech stuff on there as well. And we talk about painting and competitions and the judging that I've been doing for painting comps recently. That's what we're currently talking about. It's all Salute based at the moment.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
That's that.
That's great. I love Gundam. I've watched almost every single Gundam series and everything.
It's not like you're a nerd or anything, right?
No. It's not like I've written for like also RPGs that involve giant mechas beating the shit out of each other.
You would never do such a thing. I can't imagine that.
Cool. So you got started in Warhammer like within the last, how many years would it be? Like
3 years.
Fairly recent.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
I mean, technically I picked up my first models when I was about 6 or 7.
Right, yeah.
So that was my first intro to it. But that was literally just my mom's friend painting, and he knew that I didn't like Barbie dolls. I wasn't into that kind of thing as a kid. But I had lots of castles I like, so I like fairies and stuff.
Cool.
The darker side of fairies. I used to all my fairies were tooth fairies because I like them to collect teeth. So I think you can tell which factions I'm going to be going for. But yeah, so I was first introduced there, but then didn't touch it from when I was about 10, and it was literally someone else's models. I wasn't allowed to paint because they were all imported from the UK to South Africa, so they were all very expensive.
Yes. Okay.
And then didn't touch it until I was an adult, and I said I never wanted to touch Warhammer because I would fall very, very deep into it and I would never be seen again. And here we are.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the other end of a cycle right now, because I've amazed myself how much I've played Warmachine in the last year versus any other game other than Necromunda, which is my other love.
Necromundas. I love the models from Necromunda. They're like my body horror vibe. Like that's chef's kiss.
So yeah, I mean, again, given it's your introduction to this, so this is maybe even better for people that are brand new to Warmachine and can appreciate it from your point of view and kind of vibe off how you're vibing from it, which is always good. What can I say? Warmachine. Let me get that book. Started with this book back in 2003.
Cute.
So
we love some demons.
It's barely changed rule wise since then, which is good.
Which is refreshing.
Which is great for returning players. It's a 2d6 based system, which is where you roll 2d6, add your stat, drop your books on things and destroy models. No, I didn't do that.
Part of the game, right? Throwing your stuff on the floor.
You roll 2d6 and you're trying to either equal or beat a target number to hit it, or you're trying to exceed the target number to deal damage. There's that's generally the heart of the gameplay. Movement's movement, and and you're measuring ranges, there's terrain, all the things that we love about wargaming. Modern Warmachine, fortunately, has pushed a lot to have 3D terrain back in the game because you can pre-measure everything, so you can play to intent, which is great because there was I call it a dark period of Warmachine, when tournament players were so precision-minded that they had 2D terrain everywhere, which is dire. And if you look at current 40k with tournament play, I look at it and I go, it's just cereal boxes. So
gotta get my models in there somehow.
So Warmachine is a really tight rule system. It's great it was very popular for tournament play. It still is. But it's also, because it's so well written, it's really great for casual play. So when you'll definitely know this, when you have an ability written for one army and they have an ability written for another variant of the army. So let's talk about Space Marines. Sometimes that ability will get a different name or even be worded slightly different, even though you can tell it was... Yeah.
I love it.
And that's brilliant, isn't it?
We love fun. So much fun learning.
And you come from a computer science sort of background, so you appreciate the absolute frustration that things are not
consistency. There's no consistent lexicon. Oh my god.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Warmachine has consistent lexicon. So if you see a power or an ability in one army and it appears on another unit or in another army, it will have the same name and have the same rules verbatim. So that's brilliant for learning, because if someone goes, I'm going to cast Blur, everyone knows Blur is +3 defense against ranged attacks. And you're just like, yay, everyone knows. It's great. So that's brilliant. So the game consists of, you have also, when you build your army, we can have a quick look at that, but you depending upon what army you pick, you've got a number of different leaders. So you pick one of those leader army. You then assign to them either warjacks or war beasts, depending upon what style of leader they are. And then you build the rest of your army out with units of troops or solos, which are individual characters. But the core thing is that if you had the same army list and you swap the leader, your gameplay changes because your leader doesn't have a points cost. So you can swap them in and out. So if you've got, say, the example would be in my Gravediggers army, which are very much a trench warfare shooty kind of army. If I have Alistair Kane is basically Neo. So he just shoots and shoots and shoots and shoots and shoots, and he's just like, he can kill units and turn them into red mist. So all of his gameplay is about shooting and making things kind of hard to hit and and debuffing the enemy. But if I was to swap in a different leader model from the same army list, which is, say, Alison Jakes, her gameplay is much more about close combat. So she synergizes then differently with different units. So you've got all this way of building your armies and also changing your leader to really change how your collection can be used. So you can have the same collection. It is really good. So with that in mind, and with knowing a bit of what the system is like, what I said with the dice system, let's start with vibes, right? Okay, so here we've got the list of the current armies you can buy as physical prints from Steamforged Games or from your local gaming store, wherever they supplies are available, of course. But of course, there are also three other armies that are available as STLs that also are coming back to print that I would say are nice. But personally, I don't think are good armies for people brand new to the game because they've got slightly more involved mechanics. So what kind of thing would you like to get out of the game? Or do you like movement shenanigans? Do you like having things coming back from the dead? Do you like lots of shooting? Do you like big tanky robots in close combat?
Well, so I can give you a bit of a hint as to my favorite faction from 40k is Death Guard. So it's all Nurgle.
Okay.
And the reason I love Nurgle is I love the lore. And I'm always very, very sad that the lore is not more closely followed in gameplay.
Right.
Because, it's super frustrating. When you read the books, there's just so much cool stuff that just gets lost in gameplay. And I feel like it wouldn't be too hard to add it in, says the person who has nothing to do with any of this. But so part of the reason I love the lore, body horror is my vibe. I also love vampires. But I find vampires a bit annoying sometimes. So like when I very, very briefly looked at everything, I was like, oh, vampires. And I was like, wait, vampires are irritating. And so that's like my vibe is very much love things coming back from the dead. Love a bit of necromancy. Yes, tick.
Right.
Anything that's got lots of skulls. Absolutely. Anything that like we love a vampire, but also vampires are a bit annoying and high maintenance. So I'm always a bit sus about vampires, although I love how they look.
Okay. So on that basis, there's basically two factions, I think. Well, there could be three. It depends. It depends upon how you kind of interpret kind of that Death Guard flavor as well.
Yeah.
So let's give the grand picture. Is the world of Warmachine takes place on a world called Cairn, and we are most of the story that we're concerned with takes place on the western part of a continent that's called Imoran, and there are four major kingdoms one's called Kador, one's called Signar, there's one that is called the Dark Empire of Crix. There's five then. There's two smaller ones called Lael and Ord. Lael's and basically then there's the wilderness around them, and there's some other empires that we can talk about. But essentially, the world is kind of is going through an industrial revolution powered by magic. So magic in the setting is not something where you go, oh, I will breathe energy and magic to light a candle. No, magic in the setting is fucking terrifying, and if you wield it, it is like holding on to the end of a water hose. Like, it is powerful unless you really take charge of it. To turn this into to make life easier for the commonplace person, magic is channeled through technology, such as warjacks, which are these automatons, or through other devices that can channel the magic and make it controlled. So that's the type of world it is. So we've got steam power. We've also got some Tesla punk kind of elements coming into the setting. We've got some diesel punk elements coming in, but then also we've got some really fucked up biomechanical shit going on, and like I say, there's necrotech, which is what happens when warjack technology gets combined with necromancy. There's what the elves do, which is a different type of magic, a different type of kind of magical devices. There's alchemy, and then there's all the wilderness creatures and folk horror and big trolls and shit.
Folk horror.
And also, the great thing about the setting is kind of like, the way I describe it is often the other elements to it is the setting visually is kind of like somewhere between Renaissance and late Victorian period mashed together. So some parts of the world feels like very Venetian. Other parts feels like very much Victorian London or France or Slavic. And then there's other areas of the world where, because it's right on the edge of the kingdoms and near the deserts, it's full on Western. So it's you've got Trollkin that'll be going around in Stetson hats with their six shooters.
I would like to say some things about that politically, but I'm not going to. That sounds amazing, because steampunk is one of my favorite genres.
Great. So off the basis of things that you like, then obviously the first pick, and I've got an army of these and they're fun, is Crix. So Crix is your undead faction. So you're going to have warjacks powered by, they don't use coal, they use something called necrotite, which is the coalesced energy of death that occurs at mass graves and battle sites. And when you burn it, it's highly toxic.
That sounds amazing.
So they're fun. And most of their troops are amalgams of mechanical prosthetics with dead bodies. So you've got walking zombies, but with buzzsaw arms and shit like that.
Incredible.
Which is fun. Yeah. Now the next one over, which is also an undead vibe, is House Callus of the faction that's called Dusk. So the
vampires?
They're vampires of a sort. So what happened is the elves, towards the end of the last edition, with the Infernal Invasion, killed off their gods as a last resort of trying to do something. As a result, most of their priests and anyone with strength of will became eldritch. So they're vampires, they're undead elves. And the rest of their armies that are alive are soulless. So they're living elves that remain are alive, but they don't have souls because they don't have gods anymore. So souls are kind of like being fucked up. And the other thing that they have warjacks, which are very think what elves do. It's all very elegant, smooth, well designed.
That's why I don't like vampires, because they're so high maintenance.
Yeah, so their warjacks don't run off steam power, and they don't run off burning coal or things like that. They absorb the ambient magical energy in the world around them to power them. So that's kind of their vibe.
Elfie wanky, yeah.
Yeah, they're assholes basically. Then the next faction, which I think that also vibes with you, is Khador Old Umbre. So
is this the one that's got all the animals in it?
Yes, this is the one that has the weird beasties. So and has werewolves and shit. So there's a part of the Khador Khador Kingdom. There's a realm called, one of the old realms that's called Umbre. And essentially what's happened is this entity, I call it an entity, she's known as the Old Witch, and she's been on the planet since the birth of it, pretty much. Yeah. And she has changed faction through the game a few times. She used to be in Khador, then was part of Grimkin, she's now part of Old Umbre. She stole some magic towards the end of the last edition to build to help her build this army.
Yeah.
That she's formed out of Khadorans that live in the wilderness. So you've got people that have grown up in the wilderness. They're like, they're trappers and hunters and so forth, who, while Khadoran are more attuned to the old religion and ways, and their war beasts, so they don't use warjacks, they use war beasts, are things that look very like chimera-like, or they're kind of slightly undead, and they've got skull heads and stuff.
Love it.
And or they've got like the Strix is a character war beast that's kind of like part owl, part bat, part goat, part deer.
Awesome. So they're awesome, yeah.
And the cool, as I say, cool thing about them is they've got some cool rules where your mortal troopers, as in gameplay, can be transformed into werewolves or werebears, which is sweet. Because they pack a punch, and I love that army. They're a lot of fun to paint. And then the last one, which is more of a wild card here, which I still think fits with some of the themes that we've looked at that you like, is Crucible Guard. So Crucible Guard is not really tied to a kingdom, because they are the official army of the Order of the Golden Crucible, which is the Alchemist Order.
Oh.
And so they're basically the company army. And so a lot of their technology involves alchemy. Their gameplay is about putting down loads of status effects, like setting people on fire, setting people on fire, blinding them, or putting acid effects on them. And if you have all of those effects on at once on things, you get to do more damage because you're about alchemy and doing that kind of gameplay. They've also got a lot of advanced technology. So they've got kind of like rocketeers, like people with jetpacks and stuff. They've got lots of flamethrowers and spray attacks. And you've also got a few characters that are like the result of like alchemical experiments to make superhumans.
Incredible.
So they're also a bit fucked up, which is great.
I mean,
we like fucked up.
We like a bit fucked up.
So what kind of jumps out of those four? Because I think those are the strongest choices
I think
there.
Dusk immediately goes purely because of the word elegance.
Okay.
And because like I love Lord of the Rings, but I hate the elves in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are bastards. They're like properly gits.
And so I think they go purely because of that.
I think also from your love of from your other love of Gundam, I think there's an element there that can be brought over with the painting style, schemes and so forth, because they're very strong on the mecha side of things.
Yeah.
And if you do go deep on these guys, they've got what are called there are warjacks in the game, which are on 120mm bases called Colossals. Theirs is a giant mechanical winged warjack. It's very Wing Zero, to put it lightly. So
okay.
as I said,
I think we crossed them out because I think they're going to annoy me. I think they're just going to irritate me. But I feel like they're an army that I'm definitely going to come to.
Yeah.
For all the above reasons, right? But I think for me, I like the idea of Crucible Guard, but not where I would want to start, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's definitely between the Beastie Boys and the Dead Boys.
They're both
definitely between
choices.
Those two.
Both Cricks have got some really good asshole play as well. Like they can go ghostly and move through terrain and do stuff like that. You can bring your troops back from the dead. What else can they do? Steal souls. They like killing things that have souls and using souls to power their magic. Kador's tricksy if you've got terrain setups that involve lots of like rough terrain and like trees and woods. They don't give a shit. They use that to their advantage.
Right. Oh, I see. Okay. Folk horror is one of my absolute loves. Like I love folk horror. And in fact, the recent box set that Warhammy's lot released with all the Nurgle stuff in it, that was so amazing because it had folk horror inspired elements inside it. And so I was like, I can't not get that. I think I want to go folk horror purely because this is so hard because like the gameplay that I really enjoy is the Dead Boys. Like that sounds right out of my alley. But do I want to differentiate a little bit, and do I want to lean more into the folk horror and a different style of playing to what I'm used to playing? Because do I want to diversify effectively and go into something that's like a bit more witchy folk horror vibes, which is more my day-to-day wandering in the forest looking for skulls kind of vibe. Like,
Kador can do some really fun tricks. As I said, like their models
are so cool.
They can do some movement shenanigans where they don't worry about woods. They can summon woods into play to cause issues for your enemy. They can also, as I said, with the fact that they've got the gameplay around turning your troops into werewolves, means you can do really interesting attacks tactically. So like say you've got your unit of troops that you're using to sit on an objective, right? So Warmachine's very objective based play as well. We'll talk a little bit about that. So if you've got a unit of troops that's sitting on an objective, you go, I've got to hold this. And then there's another objective over there, which is more the type that you can only claim with a solo. You can turn, if you've got the right stuff still in play, you could turn one of your troopers into a werewolf or werebear, and then they can shoot off out of the unit independently, mash up whatever's in the way and claim the objective. So you can do some real surprise attacks essentially.
Yeah. See, that's a style of play that because There's a style of play that, because I am used to playing Death Guard, which is very slow and ponderous,
Yes.
that's a style of play that is totally alien to me. Being able to just sprint across the board and to be able to do things. So I think as a player, it would push me potentially in a good way. And the models look a lot of fun to paint.
Well,
and so like, I don't know whether I lean into what I already know and go full body horror vibes, nuggy boys, but not dead boys.
The thing with Cricks is they're not technically a slow shambling army.
Ooh.
So yes, they haven't got their basic troopers are not slow shambling. They move pretty much as fast as anyone else.
Amazing.
In fact, the Cricks army is one of the fastest armies in the game, even though it's undead. They're a bit more, if anything, I would describe them as being a bit more like they're a bit more glass cannon as an army. So you are summoning things into play, and you can summon even extra troops into gameplay. But you're basically looking at how to alpha strike on things by doing like rapid pincer attacks.
Do you know what? I want to go folk horror because
you want to go folk
horror,
right?
Because I'm desperate to paint it. I think that's the thing, is like, I want to lean into
totally
the lore
fair.
of it.
So, as I said, there's the way you get into this game is there's an obvious starter set. You can create a 30-point starter army in quite a few different ways. But, obviously the best point of entry is this starter set because it's 30 points and it gives you a good core to build around.
Yeah.
So what you get in here is you get your leader, which is Boden Lesnoy, who's was part of the Cadoran army and then went off having been trained enough to go off and lead Old Umbre. He's got this kind of spirit guide animal called Vorny, which is this crow. You've got his character war beast called Strix, which is this bat owl
thing.
And then you've got this thing's just a totem that moves around. That's helpful. It does some debuffs in the game. And then you've got the Disciples of the Witch, which are 3 models that form a unit that have slightly different attacks that do different status effects. And then as you build up from that, the way you collect is you go, right, that's 30 points. Then the next point after that is you could either buy the battle box. And in a battle box, you get a different leader model to lead, which is Capitan Galina Lycia, who's a sniper. And you get 2 war beasts, and you get all the parts for the war beast. So you get the different head options, arm options, back options. So you can, and they're ready. They're printed and they're designed to take magnets, so you can mix and match how you play from game to game. Whereas Strix is a character war beast, so you can't change the parts on it. And then after that, there's different sets to build out from. So you get the where is it? Does it show? No, we'll have to go into the main shop bit of it. Let's have a look at that.
God,
where's the shop?
I just started streaming. I'm starting streaming again from next week. So to have more fun things to paint is going to be so fun.
Let's see. Can I find? There's Old Umbre.
Very excited.
So if we look here, so the other sets that you can get, if I bring those up as different pages, is there's the core expansion. So this comes with another leader model, which is, I can't remember his name, but he's more of his abilities synergize with units of troops. So he's more of a troop leader. Some leaders are more shooty, some are more magic based, some like using their war beasts. You get 3 werewolf models that you can summon into the game. You get a solo who can be assigned to a unit. You get this guy here and these goats. They're a unit together called shearlings. and he can do some fun stuff. You get this animist who can turn your warriors into werewolves, and then you get this character war beast called the Starved, which is again another kind of Wendigo like folk horror monster.
That's the model I like the most, by the way, because we love a Wendigo, and he's got moss on his model. So
and the other fun thing with this guy is the arms and the heads. The arms and the head also have in them the slots for magnets, because the body of this is the alternate pose to the let's go to the right one. Is the alternate pose of the body of the war beast in
the first set, in the first box.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god!
So if you magnetize it, then you can use all the pieces twice over. So there's some logic to that. And then the other starter set is this one. So this one comes with another unit of troops here that have got rifles. You get this solo called Zavana Aga, who's like a witch. You get this another commander who is much more like I can't remember what her playstyle is, but she summons woods into play and stuff like that. You get werebears that you can summon, that you can transform your warriors into, and then you've got a unit and a solo leader of bear riders. So they're cavalry on bears, which is
all sounds good to me.
And then after that, the world is your oyster and how you could build. So there's a natural progression. You could buy that, paint it up, have loads of fun. Then you could always buy that. The next one. That gives you a new leader and some new war beasts, different ways of playing. Then you could get that one, and then if you got that one, then you've got basically
the core
everything to explore to figure out how you want to play before you start going like, well, I kind of like playing in a particular way, so I need to get, say, another unit of that troop. So you start doubling things up at that point. There are some other cool models in the range, like this solo called the Lord of the Hunt, who's just riding a giant wolf, which is cool. There is a leader model that can transform into a werebear mid-game.
Amazing.
So that's fun. And then the other thing you can add into the game is their Colossal. So this is on a 120mm base. This is it has different head and arm options, and it's called the Gorger.
Because it's gorgeous.
That's on my list.
That's why.
It's on my list of things to get at some point for my own army. But yeah. And then there are some other bits that you can add into your army as well as it grows, which aren't actually from the Old Umbre list. So there are a few mercenaries that you can add into your army. So Magnus and his super heavy warjack Invictus can be used in any army. So you could use him in this army. And if that later... Yep. You've got Lord Carver and his war boar, which is also a super heavy war beast. Carver is a pig man. He's one of the pharaoh.
I did not think that you said war boar, and I was like, wow, that's quite out there. I thought you said war whore, and I was like, okay, war boar. Oh yeah. All right.
And then you've got Zacharias. He's one of the Grimkin, so he's kind of very Fey-like and definitely
your bunny rabbit.
Thematically, I think fits in with Old Umbre. And then the other curiosity in it that you can also add into the army, where I find it, is this is the starter set for the Kador army that is plastic, but you can use it in the Old Umbre army. So you can't use her as a leader, but she becomes what you call is a junior warcaster. So she doesn't lead your army, but she just comes along with her warjack, and you can use them just as extras. So
amazing.
And then it means it's another starter set.
Yeah,
which means you can teach someone else to play using it, or you branch out. So what I'm basically showing you is that fact that you can start with one army and quite easily add a few things that then, if you do start another army, you've got stuff you can bolster it out with as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Or start doing stuff. So I'll show you is how the app works then with this starter force here. And it's fairly simple. So in here you've got...
I can't get into mine at the moment. I did download it.
In here you've got everything you need to play. So in the library, you've got all the rules
there
for free. You've got all the starter gameplay for free and the casual gameplay there. There's also a whole lot of lore and background material on all the factions and all the named characters to read. If you subscribe to the app, I think it unlocks the novellas. So there's also some novels like about Alistair Kane and so forth. Kane
your
is
favourite.
He's my homeboy. He's been in there since first edition. And so you've got everything to learn how to play there. But then you could also go into here. You can look at any unit in the game.
So you can see everyone else's stuff as well.
Yeah. So the gameplay is completely open. You can know everything about every army. It's not paywalled.
And so then we can build all of their army line stats. Who would do such a thing?
So then we've got building a force. So I'll show you how this works. So we go to create force. We'll choose prime. Prime basically means you've got army lists here that are tournament legal. Legacy, it basically means you can use every single model that's basically ever been produced. But that means
for friendly play.
For armies from previous editions, those armies are not tournament legal. Whereas if you go into Prime, the armies from previous editions are what are known as armies of legend, and they have more limited army lists to pull from to allow better gameplay and balance for that purpose. We're not going to need to worry about that because we're going to look at Old Umbre here. So we're going to make a recon mission, and let's just call that... there we go. Let's just call it Kenda there, just so we know what we're doing.
Just me.
So we go in, and these are initial picks. These are command cards. They're like once per use game effects that can, do minor changes to gameplay. They're updating how these work though, so we're not worried about that for the time being. So the first thing to do was we add a warlock, and as you can see, there's a few here we can look at. So we can actually click on them to bring up their rules, and we can expand their rules. And even better, if there's see these symbols here, which you're not yet, you won't be aware of what they are. And if you want to know what those are, you click the question mark there. It brings up the question mark here. And you go, right, I want to know more about this. Oh, that boot symbol means Pathfinder, which means you can go through terrain unimpeded.
Nice.
Or that means dual attack. So the question mark thing is your helper on understanding the game.
That's why I use New Recruit when I'm looking forward to K, because I have a head like a sieve. So we can add Bowden to the list there, and you can see he's added, and it says you must have a battle group member in his force. So we go look at the war beasts, and we can see Strix is here. So we'll add Strix by clicking that. I think, where's the Colossal? Hiding.
Oh, it's not on the list. The app isn't updated with the Gorger. That's strange. Maybe I need to update
your app.
Desktop one, but it doesn't matter. So I add Strix. So you can see how it's listed under Bowden Lesnoy here. So it's attached to him. So it's what we call the Strix is a cohort model, and we can see he costs 16 points. Whereas if, say, we were adding the Primeval here has options that we can pick doing that, and we can pick the head, arms, and depending upon what we pick, we get different abilities and attacks.
This is why it's so important to magnetize your stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we don't need to worry about, and obviously depending upon what you pick, he'll have a different points cost. So let's remove the Primeval. We've got the Strix. Then the next thing to add is the unit, and solo. So in here we can see there's Vorony, and there's the Witchmark token. We add those in. And then it says we've got how many points left? 9 points left. So then all we need to do is add the Chosen of the Witch, who costs 9 points.
Perfect.
And you might think, how do we know if we're building an army, if it's legal to play? You can click at the top here. There's a validate and save, and it'll validate your army and go, yes, this is ready to play.
Who knew it could be made simple?
And if you're using the app, when you go to play your game, you can record and track the hit points on these models through the app. But also, if you go to here, print, and do expanded PDF, it'll generate a PDF of your army with all the rules printed out, which will look like, if I bring it over here, it looks like this.
That's amazing. And then you can just print it out and take it with you.
Yeah.
Because then if you like offline, because it's one of the things I get really frustrated about is like I prefer offline gameplay because I'm already addicted enough to my phone as it is. And whenever I'm pulling up my stat lines for things, it's so easy to get distracted by a message, and then I always feel like I have to reply because I'm, you know, really bad at replying to messages at the best of times. And so I like to not have my phone with me when I'm at the table, which is almost impossible with 40k because you got to have your app, you got to have your scoring app. So yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, so that's how that works. As you can see, like Bowden Lesnoy, he has a field allowance of 1 and C. So C means character model, which means you're going to have one of him. Whereas, like, say, if we were to look at the Liegeman Hunters here, it's a bit hard to see, but it says field allowance 4. That means you have 4 units of 5 grunts.
Cool.
So that's really how you build your army, and it's that simple. You can pick and mix through the app really in a simple way. And then I think the last thing to onboard you, because I think you're at the point where you'll be like, I need to go into the app and read and use my downtime to read stuff. So if we look at the main gameplay, speed is how far things move in inches. Pretty simple. Mm-hmm. And if things run, it's speed +5. If they charge at a target, it's speed +3. It's a flat, numbers game like that. There's no doubling and having to do maths like that. The AAT here is his arcane attack. So that's what you would roll with if you were doing an attack with, say, his earth spikes against someone. His MAT is his melee attack rating, which is what you would roll with when using his dagger or his staff. And then his rat, his ranged attack, is what you'd use if he attacks with his crows.
Okay.
And essentially what you do is you roll 2d6, you add the relevant stat, and then you would compare to your target's defense. And if you equal it, you've hit them. So if Bowden was trying to shoot someone, you'd roll 2d6, add 6 to it, and say that if the target's defense was also 14, you'd need to get a 8 or more on 2d6. Simple as that.
Nice.
And then damage is also analogous. So you would roll 2d6 plus the power of the weapon, and then you would have to, and anything that's in excess of the armor is the damage dealt. So if we were striking someone with armor 14 with a power 10 weapon, you roll 2d6, and so long as it's more than 4, you're dealing damage to the target. Then these two stats are really about the resource game. Arc is how much fury he can have, and control is basically how far away he can control his war beasts, and affects other things as well. You can see that Bowden has 16 health boxes, but say the Chosen of the Witch, they have 10. If we look at the where are they? If we look at the Liegeman, they don't have hit boxes. They've just got 1 hit each. They're hit and they're dead. Okay. And then if we look at the War Beasts, this is where it gets a little bit more funky. They don't have hit boxes. They have health spirals.
Oh my God.
So what happens is when you get dealt damage, you also roll a d6 to see which spiral it's dealt to first. And then as spirals are taken out, your War Beast will perform less well. So if you take out all of the red ones, That's the body. That means then when it rolls to attack, it gets one less die on its attack roll and one less die on its damage rolls, because obviously it's been weakened.
Yeah.
If you take out its movement, well, then it can't run and it can't charge, and it becomes easier to hit. And if you take out its spirit, you're not able to use fury, so it can't boost its attacks and it can't do magic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's depressed at that point. It's seriously depressed and it doesn't want to take part anymore. But that's basically how that works. And similarly, if we look at, and it's good because this army has access to it. If we look at warjacks are similar but different. They have hit boxes, and they work in a similar way that you've got all these blank boxes here, which you have to chew through. But once you start, if you take out the letters, so that's the left arm, that's the right arm, that's the movement, and that's the cortex, it's kind of the same effect. So if you take out the left arm, the attack with the left arm has one less die on attacks, one less die on damage. Same with the right. And then movement, the same as movement on the war beast. It's going to be slower. It can't run and can't charge. And if you take out the cortex, it can't use focus and it can't do cool stuff in the game.
It's also depressed.
So that's a really brief overview and a vibe. Like I say, Bowden Lesnoy, I'll give you a vibe of what his gameplay is. He's got this ability that means he can ignore forests and cloud effects for line of sight. And so can his war beasts. So basically means you can charge through forests at people. Which is it's just rude, but it's fun. He's also got his crows that they're an attack. They don't let him do damage, but they basically let him teleport into base-to-base contact with his enemy. So you attack at range with that, you teleport, and then you can do close combat attacks in the same turn, which is fun. And then his close combat weapon, this one, as he deals damage to people, he heals in return. And then he's got a lot of his spells here. The one that's really which one's that one? That one makes his war beasts tougher by giving them extra armor. This one turns all friendly models into absolute monsters and deal extra damage, which is fun. And then he's got a cloud effect called Murder of Crows, which basically cloud effects block line of sight, but also if people move into them, some of them can do damage, and that's what this one does. It's basically a cloud of crows that you don't want to walk through. And Befuddle is a fun one. He can do movement shenanigans on your opponent, so he can make them move towards you. So that's always useful. And then Strix's whole gameplay is obviously going to combo with Bowden by being able to charge through woods and through clouds effects. Strix's gameplay is basically that he doesn't need... So normally in the game, there's this thing called boosting, which is where in the case of your warlock, he spends a point of fury and he can add a die to his attack or to his damage roll. War beasts, they gain fury by making them do stuff such as boosting an attack. Now, normally you have to boost before you make the roll. His thing is he can boost after you've seen the result. So you can be ultra efficient with your resource and go, do I need to make this damage more powerful? No, I'll hang on to the next attack that I do. Yeah. And so you can be really... So this game has a lot of the resource play of it means you're looking at how to really maximize your attacks on something. It's not about two armies running into each other, sitting on an objective and grinding away. It's about knowing where to strike, and even pushing the enemy off an objective happens. His other cool thing is he's got a special attack that means when you attack with both arms as a single attack rather than as two separate attacks, you can have the enemy thrown away, which is great. So if you need to move something off an objective, you go, I can't kill it this turn, but I can throw it. And that leads into gameplay. Like, you can do pinball in this game, essentially, where you go like, well, if I can throw him, I can throw him in that direction and throw him at the enemy leader and thus damage the enemy leader at the same time.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot of like wrestling in the game that the Warjacks and Warbeasts can do. So they can throw each other, they can headbutt, and they can also do body slam. So even if your Warjack or Warbeast has its weapons like disabled or not operating at their best, that doesn't stop them, basically belly charging each other to do damage.
Yeah, so good.
And then your Warbeast also gives you extra magic to use, either on itself or that your Warcaster. So your Warcaster can use this as one of his own spells. But yeah, that's kind of gameplay in a bit of a nutshell.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll just finish on is that because you're coming from Warhammer 40,000 Age of Sigmar, so the gameplay is based on objectives. So you can take and hold objectives. Players score objectives on each other's turn. So you're both scoring points on each other's turns. The way to win is you have to be 3 victory points ahead of your opponent at the end of their turn.
Okay.
So you imagine you rush onto the one objective. It's not just about taking it. You have to hold it because, if your opponent then pushes you off and claims it, they're going to get points themselves.
Yeah.
So you have to take it and hold it so that you're ahead of them at the end of their turn.
Okay.
Which is really tough to do sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other cool thing is, imagine you're losing and it's your turn. You're 3 victory points behind your opponent. You know there's no way you're going to claw them back. The other way to win is just to kill the enemy leader. If you kill the enemy leader, it's game over. You win outright. Oh. So you have to be very careful with this game about trying to play for an objective, but also play for the assassination because your leader is a very potent piece in the game. And some of them will want to be really up in the mix, tearing people apart. That's a risk.
Yeah.
That's a big risk. Huh. Let me just transition out of that. So to wrap up, any final thoughts or questions?
Not really. I'm itching to get into painting now.
Yeah.
I'm itching to get into painting and then have a couple of games to actually see how it all plays out. I really like that swirly matrix thing. I can imagine it being really annoying in games sometimes, but also really fun. Like I like the concept of it because it's actually disabling the character in unique ways.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just keen to get into it now.
Cool. That is good to hear. So that the starter box for Old Umbre, all the models in that are mostly they're all they are all 3D printed resin. They're sold as 3D prints. They're printed here, there, and everywhere. So, and they're very good sculpts. So there's only a handful of starter sets right now that are in hard plastic. So the if I transition back, and I'll just show you that where are we? The
baby.
These ones here. This Kador starter set that you could also use in your Old Umbre army. They are all hard plastic and really good as well.
Yeah.
So, that's something to consider as well. But everything else is currently is resins.
That's okay. I'm literally painting several resin pieces at the moment.
Yeah.
So
and the cool thing is, as I say, with gameplay, this starter set of 30 points, the missions in the app. So if we go to the app again, and I go to the library, I go to Tales from the Frontline. There's about 6 or 7 missions that you can play in this game at that level, and they are all designed for the smaller games of Warmachine from 30 to 50 points. So, and you'll notice that there are designer notes here that are basically telling you how you should be playing this mission so that you can learn how to use your army. Because sometimes it's not, the missions aren't very obvious, like what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And then the other cool things you can get, there are in this set, in this booklet, there's some other missions that are asymmetric, so that's kind of fun for campaign play.
Yeah.
And then also there is where is it? It should be in here. Let me see. There's where? Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right page. There definitely is somewhere I think it's no playing games. It's in here. No scenarios.
What are you looking for?
There is a list of. Oh no, I think it's actually in. I'm looking in the wrong place. I think I'm meant to be looking in the core rules. There's lots of different terrain types in the game that you can use. So there's like craters, trees, trenches, buildings, acid pits, all the favorites. But there's also, you can get like I'll try and find the reference to it again. There's also like you can get weather effects and battlefield effects, like things like to give a more fog of war kind of element to the game.
Awesome.
To explore. So there's tons. Yeah, there's loads to explore with it. And then on top of this, if you're into roleplay games, there's obviously a roleplay game using the same setting,
right? Yeah.
So there's Iron Kingdoms that uses currently the D&D 5th edition set, but there is Inklings from Adepticon, and I'm going to push the team a bit more because obviously I've written for the RPG, that they might do a new edition of the RPG that uses the 2nd edition rule set, and the 2nd edition rule set uses the same rules as the war game.
Oh, cool.
Which makes it really good, and I love that rule system. Because I'm of the opinion that if you want to get people into gaming, you want it easy to eyeball. So 2 dice is good, 3 dice is better. Done. Dice pools are nice. I think the joy of Warmachine's rule system is that you feel like every dice roll matters because you're only rolling 2. Or you might roll 3 or sometimes even 4 dice, which is like because you've powered things up. Whereas I
hate playing orc players when they're rolling dice and
I feel like sometimes with that style of game rule system where you're rolling buckets of dice, often the abilities in the game feel like you're really just pissing around at the edges of the probabilities. You're going like, oh, you've re-rolled a few dice to hit. But that ends up you don't actually get that many more kills. So it's kind of like, well, what was the point of it? Whereas Warmachine, trust me,
chance-based. Yeah.
If you go, I need to kill this thing, you can spend resources to do so, and it will boost your shot or your attack up to ridiculous power, and you can then just like blast apart warjacks in 1 or 2 good shots.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So really, as I said, the plan is that I wanted to record maybe towards. I mean, I'm looking at we're halfway through a month, maybe towards the end of the month or a bit later. That seeing when people have got some stuff painted and they want to show and talk about it, what they're finding cool, and maybe have read a bit of the lore and have some questions about the rule system. And that's basically the plan. And then at some point. Obviously, next month is getting really busy because it's Lock and Load EU in Sheffield, and then that's the official Warmachine, one of the European Warmachine convention run by Steamforge. So I'm going to be there for all 3 days, and then I'll be there on Friday of UK Games Expo, which is the end of next month.
I'll be there as well.
So I think really it's looking like the aim should be if I can fit them in. Fit in a game next month, possibly with someone, that'd be great. If that could be arranged. Obviously, travel and everything is a thing, but the month after, I think summertime is mostly going to be possibly a bit easier after that.
Sure.
And people have got, and also we want to play with painted stuff, which is always fun.
And I'm heading into competition season now, so I'm busy painting competition pieces.
And the other cool thing is that because Mark is collecting the Kador army, so he's going with classic Kador. I and Gareth's got Dark Operations, which is Cephalax, which is an army of legend. But I've got stuff that's basically compatible with everyone's armies, because I have a whole Keda army. I have the whole Old Umbre army.
Yeah.
I've got a whole Crix army, which that's got elements of Gareth's own Cephalax in there. So it means that also in future, you can kind of do a try before you buy. You go like, what set do I want to buy first? Do I want to get the War Beast, or do I get the expansion that has the new Warcaster in it and the
But I mean, this kind of choosing is really nice because it's vibes based, and I feel like people don't do that enough. People don't like. I feel people get really serious about what army they're going to collect, especially with 40k. And then my thing is always choose what you like the look of, because if you like the look of it and you like the lore of it, you're going to enjoy it. That's my vibe anyway. So that's why I go for that.
So I'll just give you an idea of scale of things as well. So if we say, where's my I'll find it. There we go. So we've got there, when you can focus, there's a Space Marine.
A baby. He doesn't want to focus.
Nice Space Marine.
He doesn't want to be.
There's one Space Marine. That's a normal trooper model out of Warmachine.
Yeah.
For scale. So pretty equivalent.
Yep.
That's a Scorn heavy war beast.
It likes your hair more than anything else, I think.
Yeah, I know. She's getting out of shot. But you get the idea of the size of war beasts there.
Yeah.
Are good. And then what I've been painting up is a Colossal for my Gatorman army.
Oh my god. So cute.
He's so happy.
He's just chilling. He's just a happy little guy.
So that's how big so it gives you an idea, like, you know, if you ever go down that, get to the route, you go like, I want to get the big ass.
We know that's going to happen.
The big ass Gorger, undeady kind of folk horror war beast thing for Old Umbre. That's how big that's going to be.
The gorgeous boy. Yeah.
So
very excited.
Yeah, cool. Well, I don't want to take up any more time because I'm very grateful for you taking part in this, and
excited.
And there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn, but there's also a lot of fun stuff to learn, because also let's also end on the really cool thing about the Old Umbre that I really didn't point out. If you unless you were watching carefully, many of the models in your units of troops, so the Liegeman Hunters and the Liegeman Guards, some of the one sculpt of the werewolves and one sculpt of the werebears, and at least 2, if not 3, of the warlocks that can lead your army are all female figures. So there's a lot of diversity in the army as well.
Always happy to see it. Always happy to see it. Representation matters. If you can't see it, you can't imagine it. Yeah,
and Warmachine's really, really good on this. Like,
as they should be.
It's been like that since day one, actually, in some respects. And I can say from having written for the RPG, things have been retconned in places as well to remove some of the things that were a little bit from the early 2000s. Because, you know, what was considered progressive in the early 2000s now is kind of just
it absolutely happens. You can't, we won't get into the female custodies debate, but you can't be a company now looking back at what the standards were back then. You just can't. No, you can't. Yes, there's always going to be an audience that holds on to old stuff, but fine, let them do that.
Oh, I know.
Let them drown. Let them drown.
I know.
But with everybody else, like we need to see ourselves, and so it's always exciting. Exactly. It's always exciting.
I mean, in my, I'll say this actually. I'll go back. I'll just show you one last thing. Like even in, it's not just representation in terms of like genders or even hold on, let me transition here. There. It's not even just representation in terms of gender in just male or female, because in some respects I consider like the you can also consider like the Chimera are kind of almost gender non-specific of the fact that because because they've been biomechanically this biomechanical magic shenanigans going on, which means the characters that lead that army have been trying to pursue their own agenda free from who they used to be controlled by. So there's actually quite a lot of a self-determination kind of theme to Chimera, which I feel is really strong. And then if we look at Gravediggers and we look at so this is what I'm just using just for the sake of for games when we play, and I can explain things quite easily because I know it. This guy here with the blunderbuss, Captain Sebastian Falk. First of all, he's best friends with Alistair Kane, and so
I thought you were going to say Elsa for a second.
No, with Alistair Kane, and like it covers for him when he goes off doing either getting drunk or doing like black operations. But also,
need a bestie that does that.
Captain Falk is canonically gay in the setting, so it's like
cool. Yes, a queen. We love it. We love to see it.
And the other thing that's also fun in this army, if we look at the battle box you get for Signar, for Gravediggers, this character here with the flash of green hair, she is Cynthia Roscoe. She's actually the daughter of Alistair Kane. He's been in the game this long. He didn't know he had a daughter until like the previous edition, so had to go on a rescue mission for her.
And he didn't know. Oh my goodness, Alistair, how dare you?
So now she's obviously inherited his abilities. So while he's a gun mage, she's a rocket mage. She does her magic using missiles, literally.
That's so cool.
So I mean that's cool. That's pretty cool. Like also again going back to like female figures. Like if we look at the Gravediggers expansion, I don't know, maybe that picture isn't the best. Let's look at the Gravediggers Trooper Rangers. You can see that
it's so funny because it's like it's not something that's like it's an example of doing this really well because it's not been made like a massive deal. It just is there.
Yeah,
and
they don't have...
yes, to the majority of players, if you're male, it doesn't matter to you, but it's not for you. It's for everybody else, right?
And also, there's no boob armor going on, but you can tell she's an absolute badass.
Yeah, but I also love that because this is one of my big things. Is like when I'm painting other models, this isn't any Games Workshop anything. This is a female model, and I rarely paint female models because they're always overly sexualized. And I'm like, I just want to paint something that's female. And I love the fact that she's, got her boobies out, but they're not massive, bazonga, giant anime boobies. She's just female. And it's really, really nice. So I love it.
So happy to see it. Out of the unit of troops in the Kador starter, out of these three here, that's a female figure. And then your leader, Vilkul, she's also a pixie cut death machine. It's the way I call it. She's
without giant booby armor. Can you imagine how depressing it would be being a smaller breasted woman and being given your armor and it's massive double D's and then you got to wear chicken cutlets inside your armor? Like, come on.
So Vilkul in the Kador army, if you go down that route as well, she's her background is that she was a noble about to be married off, but they discovered A, she could do magic, and B, her brother died in the war, so she had a real like, she was like, no, screw this, I want to get revenge.
Amazing.
I've got a whole thing about how there are two female characters in the setting who also have a reason to team up because there's a villain, there's a character in the Orgoth army who basically murdered either their mentor or their father. So there's two female characters from two different armies who normally would be fighting each other who would go, no, let's boss this.
We've got bigger issues to deal with.
So there's that's a character model for the Gravedigger Commandos who again is female. She's got like really I think she's also got an eye missing, which is kind of cool. She's really
sick.
Butch, which is great. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff.
I love it.
Right.
I love
That's
that.
good. I'm glad you're excited. That's what I wanted, because
cool.
I feel that I feel like where we are with Warmachine right now, and getting rid of what used to be called play like you've got a power, which I'll explain another time. That's all gone. That's been gone for years now. I feel Warmachine, in terms of both the game and the setting, I think is now the least toxic it could ever be, and and is the most fun it can be, that people can should hop on. Oh, and the other thing is this. I'll just end the other fun thing. You know, this troll guy here. There are female trolls that look like females as well. There are female troll kids.
Yeah.
So there's diversity in every color, creed,
and it's
ethnicity.
Funny how easy it is to make diversity happen.
I know.
It's so easy. It's so, and it's a good example of that. No, it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
Wicked.
So,
right. Yeah. So to wrap up, how can people find your interesting stuff on social media?
All interesting things. So it's the Lady Lettifer on social media. You can also search for Kenda MacDonald. You might come across my personal, but that's also fine. It's blocked anyway. But it's the Lady Lettifer on socials. And through there's a link tree. You'll see the podcast on there. You'll see my streaming, which starts again next week because we're into competition season. And you'll see all the various other bits on there, but it's all Instagram based.
Cool. Excellent. And obviously I'll put all the show notes and links when I can into this episode for everyone. So that is everything. So Kenda, thank you again for participating.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully next time we'll have all of us, and it will be some some shenanigans, laughing about characters and what we're painting, or how we're approaching how we're painting things.
We should definitely have a painting sesh. We should all be chatting about our characters while we're painting.
Or we could sort it out being streamed. I've got plenty of cameras and a setup for
I've got
doing
an overhead
that.
Cam for painting, so
that would be cool to do. I'm sure China over at Steamforged Games would be very happy with someone like you painting on stream.
Well up for painting on stream.
Yeah, cool.
Right,
well that's it. So we're going to say goodbye. So goodbye for now. We'll be back soon with more Warmachine.